Gentani, ahoy there, and welcome to another episode of the Godfather Part II Minute with me, Alex Robinson.
And starring me, Andy Robinson.
Oh, starring was implied in mine.
Okay.
Or do you think that's one of those things where I just say with Alex Robinson, and because I'm first, you get to say, and, you know, like one of those, and introducing Andy Robinson as
himself.
Yeah.
Featuring,
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're here to talk about minute number 69.
That's right. All day, Alex.
Nice.
Repeat after me. E minuto.
Numero.
69.
69.
You got it.
See, I would have guessed. No, I probably would have said. I don't know. Maybe I would have maybe guessed that one. I would have guessed that one.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Alex. Let's pronounce it right while we got the.
Let's summarize minute 69.
Yeah.
Well, right up top, let's summarize minute 69. Frankie, Five Angels, reacts with unholy disgust to the news that our friend in Miami tried to have Mikey killed in his home where his children play with his toys. Their toys, not his toys. And
that's why he's so mad.
Yeah, and suggests revenge. After a meandering monologue about his father's office, Mikey tells Frank some wisdom imparted to him by his father, Donald Vito Corleone Sr.
Yeah. What a minute.
Wow. So it opens up with Frankie being like, Jesus Christ, Mike. Jesus Christ, Mike. You know, that's what he's like. So and then he says, you know, let's hit him now. Let's hit him now. What does he say? Let's hit him now while we got the muscle, basically.
Well, I wrote the whole thing down.
Okay, because he kind of like,
Jesus Christ, Mike. Jesus Christ. Let's get them all. Let's hit them all now while we got the muscle. The way he says now is so awesome. Yeah. And he's pointing, too. Remember last week? We talked about how important that is?
See, to me, though, this, to me, is Frankie's worst acting.
What?
Like,
Frankie's worst
acting. And I don't mean the actor's worst acting. I mean the character's worst acting.
Explain.
Well, because I feel like he's almost like really trying to act like this is the first time he's heard of it. Like, oh my gosh, what? This is crazy. What?
Yeah,
you know, like he's selling a little too much to me.
Well, so you think he's heard before that it was Roth who had him killed, who tried to have him killed?
Speculation on the way he's reacting to me seems like someone who is trying to act like they're receiving news for the first time.
The lady doth be surprised too much.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it made me wonder if
the capo regime doth be surprised too much.
Is he somehow in on it? Is he somehow...
What?
Did Hyman Roth come to him and be like, listen, Franklin, if you help me eliminate Michael, I will settle things with the Rosado brothers the way you like. So, you know, and just when you're there, drink out of the hose, leave the back gate open, and Johnny Ola will take 100% care of it.
Frankie Five Angels was there.
He had
access to that gate.
Yeah.
And the curtains.
And he was mad that Mikey was making him. It was funny that Hyman Roth uses the fact that Mikey told him to stand down to the Rosado brothers as a reason why Roth was like, don't you see? He's taking advantage of you.
Yeah. I think Roth purposely created the beef between Frankie and the Rosado brothers just so later Roth could say, I'll take care of the Rosado brothers. That's Roth. Always thinking ahead.
What was that? There's some scene where I guess I'm thinking of Luca Brasi. That's the Luca Brasi scene where he's like, you'll never get off Luca Brasi, and he's like, let me worry about Luca Brasi.
Yeah.
That's what it's kind of almost like. Let me worry about So
I like it. If this were to happen, or if Mikey suspected of this, Mikey would say, Frankie, just Just don't lie to me. Tell me, did you know? Did you meet Roth? Did Roth or Johnny Ola come to you? Which is funny because either one would have implicated Roth. But then Frank said, No, I don't know those guys, Mikey. I don't know them guys.
It is funny that Mikey is so paranoid and suspicious, and yet he never. I guess that's just he never suspects Fredo. Like,
Fredo, yeah. Do you think he ever suspected Frankie?
I mean,
it's so hard, this part of the movie, to really tell what... I still get confused by it. How Mikey truly figures it out.
Well, there's a couple of... I feel like Coppola cheats a couple of times to make it... So in this scene, we establish he yells at Frankie Five Angels when he really has no reason to... If Frankie is innocent...
Yeah.
As he's claiming, then why is he yelling at him?
Yeah.
And the big one to me that really, it's I wouldn't go so far as to call it a plot hole, but it's the scene where they attempt to kill Frankie and they say Michael Corleone says hello.
Yeah.
And then they get interrupted, Cheech, the whole thing. Like, it's almost like they somehow knew that he was going to survive, but wanted to plant the idea that Michael was backstabbing him, but they're clearly trying to kill him. They're not. It's not like they let him go. Like, unless the whole cop thing was a. But Cheech winds up getting arrested, so I'm guessing
because he ends up
legitimate cops. It's not like a staged thing like that.
Yeah.
If they were going to stage it, why wouldn't they just choke him till he was unconscious and then leave him there or whatever? But,
Yeah.
So I mean, unless they were like, well, that's also a weird part. Jumping ahead here, is Frankie like wanted by the police?
Oh, that's why you think he's taken in?
Well, if he clearly gets arrested at some, or or do you think he voluntarily says,
I think he knows his days are numbered. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, okay.
We'll get there.
But anyway, that's one of those things where it plants, like, Frankie behaves in a way. We'll get there, Pop. We'll get there.
But in this minute, he does seem. I didn't pick up on what you're saying, that Frankie seems overly surprised, suspiciously, unconvincingly surprised.
Maybe not.
Hard to say.
Maybe not that he had something in on it, but that he at least had maybe, like, this was a rumor going around that Roth was behind it. I mean, people have to speculate.
Well, do you think it would have been better to have Frankie say, "Oh, Mikey, and I heard the rumors, but I didn't think
I heard about that.
I heard that story. I heard that. I can't do Frankie anymore. I heard that story. That's it.
Start from there.
I heard that story, Mikey. Yeah. But I didn't think it was true. Jesus Christ, Mike. Jesus, let's hit him up. Maybe he...
Yeah.
And he's like, "You've heard that story and you didn't tell me?"
Yeah, that's you don't want the Don to think you're gossiping about him behind his back. So it's so he has a motive. Even if there's no sinister motivation, he has a motivation to at least act surprised and be So that's what I'm going to guess that it's. So I'm going to say it's not a sinister motive, but I was just throwing it out there as a as a speculation.
Yeah, hard to say
because you never know.
I'm sure they're all talking, but Michael Corleone's the head of the strongest crime family, arguably the strongest crime family.
Corleone don't got that kind of muscle anymore. They're being driven out of it. Well, that's the thing also. So like you said, Frankie emphasizes, let's hit him now while we got the muscle.
Yeah.
Is Frankie, I mean, I guess Frankie knows that the Corleone family is trying to go legitimate so that...
And they soon will not have muscle, street muscle.
That street muscle might be a thing of the past, so...
Yeah,
maybe.
Gosh. Yeah, maybe. You kind of get that sense in this scene, right? Well, not just the scene, but the overall vibe. Someone almost killed Michael.
Yeah.
He's deferential to Hyman Roth.
Yeah.
He's it almost seems there's an air of desperation in their interactions here, because Michael's all pissed off saying, my kids almost got killed, my wife, the baby sleeping inside her almost got killed.
Yeah.
And then Frank's saying, "Why, we got the muscle, let's get him." There is, I think every time I do see this, there is a vibe that they are not as powerful.
That the Corleones are not as powerful.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it would make sense in a way, because if they are trying to go legitimate, it makes sense that they would be relinquishing some of their crime world things, and I guess that would make them seem for a crime family that would make them seem weak. Like they might be stronger more in the Wall Street sense, but they're losing power in the underworld. But I guess they hold on to it for another 20 years because GF3 it takes place in 1979. So.
What do you think the significance? Well, let's keep going with what takes place in a minute. And then I got some questions for you, Mister.
So Mikey says, "Let's hit him now. We got the muscle."
Frankie says that,
and then Mikey's like, "Yeah, let's hit him while we got the muscle."
Michael just starts mimicking him. Is that what you call it when the kids do that?
Well, that's what this is the rumor. We saw the Don do that, so it makes sense then.
Oh yeah, this is the rumor.
Well, we got the muscle.
Yeah.
So Mikey then goes into a sort of nostalgic reverie about The Office and
this is where this used to be my father's den. He calls it a den.
Does he say den or does he say office?
I think he says den.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
I think that's why that whole word came up. Oh, and it was in the subtitles earlier. I'm pretty sure he said den.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe anyway.
Yeah, and then but he says, but it's changed. There used to be a big desk here.
Yeah.
And he says, right out this window, we had to be very quiet when we played out there.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Well, first of all, this is something I just noticed for this. He mentions his father, and it occurred to me that is Vito Corleone mentioned in every scene in the movie?
Vito Corleone.
Well, because I remember we had it. I'm thinking back to obviously all the flashback scenes. He's in there.
Yeah.
But they have the scene where he comes up all like Mikey is talking to Tom. He's like, "Oh, I always wanted to be thought of as a brother to you guys," and all that stuff.
My father taught me to think like those around you. When he was meeting with Tom,
and then also
Simon Roth brings him up. Not even your father.
Yeah, if it would be true if my father was still alive, and also interestingly now here Mikey is the one bringing up his father, and it's interesting because as much as he's basically doing the same thing that Hyman Roth was doing in the other scene, using the power of Vito Corleone to kind of be like, it's reflecting on me now, like your father, me and your father were good friends, or in this case, he's like, by him holding the mantle of his father, because obviously Frankie knew Vito, so I think it's an interesting thing that, and we'll have to keep our ear open to see if he's because he is constantly mentioned throughout the, it's the way Pop wanted it. It's, there's going to be a lot of
definitely.
So I think that's cool that he is now it's kind of funny how the last scene almost of the whole movie, where the second to last scene, the penultimate scene, which is the birthday party scene, that kind of is symbolic of the whole thing. Like Vito, Marlon Brando's not in the movie, but he's a presence despite the fact that he's not even in the movie. Yeah. I mean, he is the Godfather. So
that's really interesting. That's a great observation.
Yeah. So he says about how we used to play with our toys, and we
had to be very, very quiet when we played outside this window.
Do you think that's a hint? A rare hint of the darker side of Vito Corleone, that because he says we had to be quiet. You're picturing Vito coming like, shut the hell up out here, or like them being punished for making too much noise outside the office. So.
I never really thought of that way.
It's just one of the few times you hear about presumably he would be angry, and that's one of the few times that you hear that.
And I'm sure as kids they probably broke that rule maybe at least once.
Yeah.
And probably Sonny.
Well,
and then they would have learned that Don Vito had a temper. I don't know. You never really see his temper except when he's smacking Johnny around.
Johnny's the only one who gets out of all the people in the movie. The only one that the Don is violent with is and also I guess he scares Anthony.
Anthony and Johnny.
The first scene and the last scene that he's in is him threatening someone.
Does Johnny get scared? He's kind of chuckling afterward when he's wiping his face.
I guess he's still embarrassed.
Yeah.
Well, I know. I'm sure we talked about this 25 years ago, but apparently Al Martino was unprepared. He didn't know that Brando was going to slap him, so that might have been him, actually, the actor, being like, "What the hell?" So, So I also discovered a very interesting I went down a very interesting rabbit hole.
Okay.
So we brought this up last time. Like, did Mikey grow up in this house?
Yeah.
Or how old was he when they moved?
We didn't know. Did you find out?
I found out. Oh, okay. I found out. All right.
All right. Great.
According to the novel, the book is different than the movie.
The book is different than the movie. The book is different than the movie. The book is different. The book is different. The book is different than the movie. Yeah.
According to the novel by Mario Puzo, the Corleones moved to the compound in 1939.
Okay.
Which would have put Mikey 18 years old when they moved out to the compound, which seems a little old to be getting yelled at by your dad for making too much noise in the backyard. Doesn't not mean impossible. They could have been playing a friendly game of touch football or something like that. But
oh man, you busted them.
But it made me wonder if this was Mikey doing mind games on Frankie.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's like evoking like, this kind of family memory. And also it's the Godfather saying, be quiet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The Don is saying, don't make noise, be quiet. And that's basically what he wants Frankie to do now. He wants Frankie to shut up and do what he's told and stop making so much noise in the play. Do you think that that's the case, or is it just when they were doing they forgot that they had established, and it wasn't established in the movie, so obviously the book is different than the movie, so they could.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how true to the timeline they were. Mm-hmm. My guess is it's truly. My guess is they present it at face value. Truly, like that really is what happened to Mikey. He was a kid there,
right?
But I personally like your new interpretation better because it's cooler and it's actually more aligned with the events in the book. Really, what happened. Yeah, but that'd be so great if Mikey were just making all this up. Just maybe that's why Frankie's kind of silent for the next few seconds because he's thinking, Mikey, I know you still live in Hell's Kitchen.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about those touch football games? That doesn't count.
Yeah, I was the one yelling at you.
No, it was no touch football game.
Remember when they would tackle Frankie when playing football?
Yeah.
He'd get the wind knocked out of him. Just please, Frankie. Just here, have a drink.
So when he's saying, like, hit him now while we got the muscle, he's flashing back to the days on the gridiron.
So I'm going
I love the football game.
Yeah. Ever since Frankie Five Angels tried to fix it by serving all the players can of fees.
Can of fees.
I like so I'm going with your interpretation, Alex. I think that's awesome that Mikey's just making up
gaslighting him to
yeah, that's great. Why do you think what's the significance of Mikey going down this trip down memory lane here with Frankie? Is it what you just described to evoke the Don, to evoke the power of the Don to influence Frankie to do what Mikey's asking, which is to not bother the Rosado brothers?
Well, I mean, I feel like it's short term. I mean, ultimately, the big picture deal, that's true. He's trying to, make Frankie play along and, use the nostalgia of. But I think also both basically this is a way of kind of segueing into his keep your friends close. He wanted to tell a story about his father. He wanted to quote his father, keep your friends close, but he didn't feel like he could just come out and say it. He had to kind of like transition into it,
Oh, I see what you're saying. He couldn't say
that. Him now we got the muscle. He couldn't just say, my father always said, keep your friends close. I guess he could have, but
no, you're right.
It goes down a little easier knowing once you kind of get people.
A nice build up.
Get people like in the narcotic haze of the Godfather's aura.
I think if Fredo were the crime boss now, we always talk about how Fredo would not have been a good boss, but what would he have done? He would
in the alternate
Frankie,
timeline where he is now the
By the way, Frankie, my father, right before he died, he told me to tell you not to mess with the Rosado brothers because we got a big deal coming up. I don't really understand it myself, but Tom Hayden says
wish.
it's a good one.
On his deathbed, he said, Anthony, make sure that he gives the Rosado brothers what they want.
You can hear it right through the orange peel.
It's not the way I wanted it, but that's what Pop wanted. So did Clemenza? Who do you think redecorated Pop's? Who had the nerve to?
I know
to redecorate Pop's office?
Because Mikey says I was.
It went to strangers.
I was glad it didn't go to strangers.
Yeah.
First to Clemenza, now to you.
Yeah.
Well, we know how much Clemenza's wife gets involved in stuff. I think it was Clemenza's wife.
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
I'll go along with that.
Don't forget to remove the Don's old desk.
I wish they would. I hope they keep showing, and when they finally do Godfather 4, I hope they show that room like through all the different eras, and like the 60s, it's all like the Brady Bunch house, and then, it's then the 90s, it's all like grunge posters and all that stuff.
Do you think it ever became like Fredo's room?
Like a museum?
Like when the Don died, did Fredo move in there because he was old enough? He needed his own room because he and Mikey were sharing a room at that point.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me that Mikey and Fredo and Kay were all sharing a room?
No, not Kay. Kay and Michael weren't staying together. So this is how it. So Sonny and Fredo were living at the house.
Okay.
And Sonny and Fredo shared a room.
Two oldest. Makes sense.
It's a whole sitcom.
Yeah.
After Pop gets shot.
Wait, where's Mikey living at that point?
Mikey, remember, is in college and the army, and he's at the hotel. Because remember in GF1, Sonny says, "Kid, why don't you come stay with us for a while? Kid, stay close. Mom would like to have you here." So he comes.
Your childhood home you grew up in.
Yeah. They made him camp out right outside the den window. So then Michael moves back.
Okay.
The Don's shot in the hospital, so they move the Don's den. They get the furniture out of there. Fredo moves to the office to get a little bit of space. I guess it would make sense for Sonny to move to the office, and then because he's the oldest, to have his own room, and then Fredo and Michael are sharing Fredo's room.
So what about Sonny's wife?
Oh, she moves in there with him too.
So Sonny and Fredo and Sonny, Fredo, and Mrs. Sonny are all in the room together.
Yeah.
Hey, two at a time, just like Fredo likes it.
Yeah. I do like when they film Godfather 4 and they show all the decades of the styles of the den. Yeah. They should just show Mr. Brady's den as the 60s version.
Now I want to see Mr. Brady as the Don, like Marsha coming to him and being like, "But Dad, it's not fair." And
would Greg be Sonny? Peter would be Fredo, and Bobby would be Michael. Surprised they haven't done a parody of that.
Yeah.
Right, Mama.
Yeah,
Tommy.
he only had one sister, unfortunately.
Yeah. But Jan could be Sandra.
Yeah, or Tom Hagen could be Jan.
I was going to say Sam, the butcher, would be Tom Hagen.
Oh, yeah.
Sonny, he was kind of dopey sounding, wasn't he?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Sonny, there's going to be a lot of money in that pursuit 10 years from now. Take the deal, Sonny.
A lot of money in them white purses. While looking up the timeline of when they moved into the house, and we talked about doing a timeline last week, I went to the Godfather wiki.
Okay.
And there is a timeline posted on their site.
Oh, excellent.
And that's where I got that information about when they moved and so on. But so some other interesting information I learned while looking at it that might be kind of fun to unpack. One thing that surprised me is that We know the Don, Vito kills Don Finucci.
Yes.
Or Finucci. Is he Don Finucci? Or just Finucci?
I don't know. We'll have to see when we flash back again.
Well, that's what answer.
Yeah.
It's only 2 years later that he kills Don Ciccio in Sicily.
Oh, okay.
I would have thought it.
I didn't think that seems right.
That seems like I mean, I guess so. I don't know. To me, I guess I feel like
You think it was shorter time?
Oh, I feel like it was longer time.
Oh, because you thought it would have been much longer to consolidate power and become rich.
Yeah, to sort of get to that stage where you're bringing your family on an overseas like trip, and they're all dressed up and they look nice and I'm just surprised that it was such a short rise to fame.
Yeah,
especially because as we're going to learn here. For instance, Michael returns from Sicily in 1948. Mm-hmm. He doesn't take over the family for 6 years.
Yeah.
So, like, the fact that it took Mikey 6 years, like 6 years happens in like the space of like 15 seconds in the movie.
Yeah, and that's in the book. In the movie, it's much faster.
Well, yeah, because remember
he comes back and he says, "I've been back for a year."
Yeah,
yeah, but in the book, it takes
so
a
they
while
could fit in all sorts of crazy adventures in that time of Michael being basically the Don being the Don and Mikey being kind of his second in command, like his Don in training.
Yeah,
Don Jr. Oh,
that would be great to see some of that.
Yeah,
right.
Well, because also you picture Fredo, we get to see Fredo being like, what the, having new experience. Because we don't really see Fredo's reaction until it's already been simmering for a while.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see, like, did he try to go to Pop and say, Pop, what do you think about me? Did he push for it? Was he just kind of shunted us? Did he just go learn the casino business? What's the story there?
I wonder. I mean, do you think Fredo assumed he would get it? I guess we're made to believe that later. We'll get to that later when Fredo is all bent out of shape.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we don't know if Fredo always felt that way or whether Johnny and Hyman Roth like manipulated him into feeling that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Boy, it really is crazy, isn't it? That you could say in a way you got stepped over from being the basically feeding him all the lies that he's going to wind up saying to Michael. Listen, Fredo, there's something in it for you. We think you're smart. Everyone else might think you're stupid. You know what? I may have some bad news, Andy. Looks like we're hitting the paywall for this episode. The minute 69 comes to a close. Oh, don't be upset. If you go to godfatherminute.com/support, you can sign up. It's just $1 a week, and you'll get all the bonus content you could stand. What's that? Oh, no.